Today we're going to talk about part 2 of pets and estate planning. My name is Gregory Singleton. I'm an estate and planning and probate attorney in Minneapolis, Minnesota, working for Signature Law, which serves the Twin Cities and Greater Minnesota alike. Just a reminder, if you like today's video, please feel free to like and subscribe. It sure helps the channel. So, pet trusts are a relatively new concept, at least in Minnesota. They've only been around since 2016. Minnesota, when they adopted it, became the 50th state to adopt pet trusts, meaning that other states, of course, had them much earlier. One of the big questions out there, at least in Minnesota, and it seems like in other jurisdictions, is how much money can you leave to a pet in a pet trust? It's a good question. Is it a reasonable amount? Is it any amount? Is it capped at a certain amount? We don't know in Minnesota. There's been no case defining that. So we look to other jurisdictions to see what they've done. And today I've picked 3 of I thought were the most interesting celebrity pet trust cases that I could find, and we're going to talk about them real briefly and show you what the courts did in each case. The first case is Sam Simon. He is the co-creator of The Simpsons. He left a trust worth $140,000 per year to care for his 5-year-old dog named Columbo. Now, the reason that the dog was receiving $140,000 is that it had a pretty strict regimen and lifestyle. It got acupuncture twice weekly, more than $3,600 a month. It had aggression training worth $7,500 a month. It got grooming 3 times a week at $150 a pop. It had a strict diet of that cost $180 per month, and it had a $25,000 enclosure for it to live in the backyard. Now, Sam Simon's estate was worth hundreds of millions of dollars, all that sweet, sweet Simpsons money. So the question is, what happened? And in this case, it's kind of interesting. The trustee is refusing to give out the cash to care for the dog because the trustee is saying it's unreasonable. It's not very often you find a trustee challenging the trust. That case is still ongoing last I checked. Perhaps there'll be another video that goes a little bit more in depth of the case when the case is resolved, though it probably will resolve in settlement and we won't hear much about it otherwise. The second case is Leona Helmsley, the Queen of Mean, who died in 2007. She left a trust worth $12 million to her dog, Trouble. At the same time, she disinherited her grandchildren. Now, the court looked at this. This was challenged by the grandchildren. They wanted a piece of the pie, and they didn't think it was reasonable for the dog to get $12 million. They went to court, and the court did an interesting thing. It split the trust, at least the trust funds. It gave the dog $2 million, the grandchildren $6 million to split amongst themselves, and the remaining $4 million approximately went to charity. The takeaway from this is the court found that $2 million was a reasonable amount for a dog. That's kind of interesting. If there is a cap that we can learn from it, apparently that cap is at least $2 million. Now, the final case, and I find this one to be the most interesting, is Carlotta Liebenstein. Now, this is not a contested case, just the opposite. It is almost embraced around the world. Now, Carlotta Leibenstein was a German countess who died in 1992. She had no children, so she left the bulk of her estate in a trust to her dog, Gunther III. At the time, the trust was worth $65 to $80 million to the dog. Now, this dog didn't live on the high life. The dog died between a week and 4 weeks later after Carlotta Leibenstein died. But what's interesting is Gunther III's puppy, Gunther IV, became the new beneficiary of the trust. This has gone on from generation to generation of dogs. I don't know what generation they're on right now, but the current estate is worth $373 million. Now, the management of this estate is the Gunther Corporation, and Gunther, the dog, is listed as the CEO. And the corporation owns an Italian football club, villas in Italy, Madonna's old $7.5 million mansion in Miami, and various other properties around the world. So what's the takeaway of this? Well, first of all, wow, $373 million for a dog, that's pretty incredible. But secondly, This is not actually possible to do in Minnesota for two reasons. First of all, when the beneficiary pet of a trust dies in Minnesota, that terminates the trust, and the money either goes to the heirs or goes in accordance with the trust to somebody else, such as a charity. Secondly, and I'm not a corporate law expert here, but I'm pretty sure that in Minnesota, dogs can't be the CEO of a corporation. Now, whether Gunther 7 or 5 or whatever is actually the CEO, that may just be more tongue-in-cheek and just a figurehead. But they list him on their website as a CEO. And the Gunther Corporation is headquartered in Italy, and I don't know Italian law, so who knows? But it's kind of a fun case to watch. So when you get down to it, not everyone can leave millions for their beloved pet. But we should take care of our pets as part of our legacy. Now, today we talked about some crazy examples, and courts do various things when large amounts are given to pets. Now, there's plenty of other examples out there. Another famous one we didn't talk about was Michael Jackson's chimp Bubbles. There's plenty of other examples out there, but the bottom line is, when you're planning your estate, care for your pet. There's a few strategies you can take, including a pet trust. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy it, please feel free to smash that like and subscribe button below. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Otherwise, until next time, this is Gregory Singleton from Signature Law.